Hi, I'm teacher Kelly Tagg, and with me I have Crissi from Heart Academy. Crissi, tell us a little about yourself and a little about Heart Academy.
Okay, so I am a 25-year-old. No, I'm not 25 years old, but I've been in the homeschooling world for about 25 years. I homeschooled both my children, Jessica and Catherine. They are now ages 31 and 26, and I have one grandson. I'm married to only one man. Yes, one man only. And I started Heart Academy because I wanted to, well, I felt inadequate, basically. Inadequate to teach my children writing and biology and all the upper division classes. So I started Heart Academy when my daughter was in 7th grade, my first one, Jessica. And she was not your typical homeschooler where you just plop a book in front of her and she'd read it. She had mild dyslexia. And so that made me just a little bit more aware of how parents deal with their children and the bents of their children. So Heart Academy is eclectic in that way. It's open to not just traditional or classical or unschooling. It's open to everyone, depending upon which teacher you choose. Each teacher gets to choose the style that they want, because not everybody is going to get along with the classical approach or the traditional approach or the unschooling approach. So that's a little bit about Heart and why we started. I was losing my child's heart, and that is why we're called Heart Academy. My daughter started to cry while we were doing reading and writing, anything to do with her eyes. And so really, Heart Academy comes out from a painful process in my own personal life. And I wanted to pass on the idea that sometimes we have to stop academics in order to take care of the heart of the child, because the heart of the child itself, or the holistic child, is eternal. And it's not just about the mind or academics. It's about the heart as well.
Yes, and just to give our audience a little bit of background, so you're based in California. So you're in the California school system, and you started homeschooling your own kids because there was problems in the school, or just let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. It's because I had my second child, and I was on the road for an hour and a half going to a private school. And so I would go, and then I'd feed her, and then I'd have to go back again and do this, the second time in a day. So it was really difficult having had just a baby. And so really it was just my own personal conviction that I could not do it as a mother. And so we started homeschooling because my sister-in-law started homeschooling. And so that's how we started. It wasn't because of conviction that homeschooling's great, or, I believe in the education of my child. It was just simple. It was just life for me. And then as I continued on, I did find that it was a movement. I believe it's a movement to bring our children's backs back to God's heart, and the idea that He is the one that's going to train them through you as a mother. And you have to be called. If you're not called to this, which many people during the COVID time were not called, they were forced to come into homeschooling. They had a difficult time, and they really had to struggle and wrestle with God, quote unquote, wrestle with God in that regards. And so they had to homeschool,
Mhm.
whether it was online or not. They had to be with their children. And so that's what happened to me is I was called. And so that's how we started.
Okay, good. And just to let you know, we'll have a lot of people watch later, but the two people here who are here now, Cindy works in a private school, but she's done a lot of homeschooling of her 13 kids. I know Kathy works in a private Christian school. Have you done homeschooling too, Kathy? I'm not sure about that. But okay, so my questions. Okay, so we talked about the how and why you started school. How long has this school been around?
Oh my goodness. So like I said, I started it because I could not teach biology or physics and all those upper division classes. And I was already feeling guilty that I was inadequate, basically. I know that's like a normal thing for moms to feel like we've ruined our children, right? But it's been around for coming on 19 years. So for 19 years, we've been around. COVID happened. We transitioned, and we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Okay. So, well, if you want to go ahead, since we're already talking about it, yes,
Sure.
tell us how it transitioned.
Oh my goodness. So we started with 7 children in a worldview class called Cornerstone. And my husband taught, and it worked really well. Next year, we said, oh, we'll just, get a couple more people. We did Spanish and language arts. And what else did we do? Biology, right? 20 kids. Next year, 75 kids. In the 19 years, we've had as many as 200. And this is just once a week. And I live in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley. And people would travel 30 to 45 minutes away. I'm in San Jose, and they came from San Francisco, that well, Tracy, San Mateo, Fremont, Pacifica, because there was nothing else in the Bay Area. And if there was, it was like a 2-year waiting list. That there wasn't a lot of stuff going around. Remember, this is about 20 years ago. And so at Heart Academy, we have everything from theater arts to physics. In other words, your core classes plus your fun classes, taekwondo and guitar and, all those fun extracurricular activities. And God, it wasn't anything that we were looking for. It was something that God organically grew as the years went by. And so, like I said, the 3rd year we went to 75. In probably the 10th year, we went to 200. And we were busting loose out of our classes. We had classes outside in a hallway. We would have it in the rain, underneath, obviously, not getting soaked. But it was getting really, really big. And so we had to move to another church. Come COVID time, everybody went in, right? And we all went online. For 2 years, we did online. Remember, I'm in California, liberal state, masks all the time, specifically Santa Clara County. And Santa Clara County, you've got a lot of, your typical engineers who follow all the rules. Okay, I'm just generalizing, guys. You know what I mean? It's like, let's follow the rules. So 80% are vaccinated in Santa Clara County. And they did not want to come back on campus for 2 years. And finally, in March, California opened up and said you can eat, you can go inside without masks and things like that. So we had to pivot and basically do everything online. My enrollment went down 50% because people, there was out school, right? You've
Yeah.
got all this competition coming up, and some people didn't want to go online. They wanted face-to-face. So we had online, face-to-face, and in churches.
Hmm.
And to this day, we are now 60% probably online. People are not ready to come back and play. They're not ready to come back outside and play. And so they're continuing to go online. I'm not condemning that. I'm just saying that's the outcome of what's
Hmm.
happening here. And then whoever wants to, it really just depends on the teacher. If they want to do online, great. If they want to do face-to-face in person, great. If they want to do a church, which most of our theater program, the most vibrant of our programs, um, we would be obviously face-to-face. And so if you haven't caught up with California went to court, a couple of the churches, and they said, wait a minute, churches do not want these mandates, California mandates, and therefore we believe we don't need to follow it. And they won. So now
Right.
all
They want
churches,
this Supreme Court. Yeah. Or
yes,
yeah. Huh.
that California Supreme Court
Yeah.
okayed it so that churches doesn't need, they don't need to require the mandates, although some still do. Obviously, they are still autonomous and decide
Right.
what they choose to do. But
Right.
we choose churches. Heart Academy chooses churches that are open. Yeah.
Okay. So most of my audience that's watching, I know in the chat, work for OutSchool. And I know that since that's what most people know, let's kind of compare it.
Sure.
And I know that your school isn't just online. You've already talked about in person, but you also work with charter schools and a whole bunch of other different things. So talk about that. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start with just one thing just popped in my brain, and that is the Lord just really spoke to my husband and I. My husband is the principal of Calvary Christian Academy, attached to a church here in Santa Clara Valley. And he said, churches are having a hard time and pastors are open to starting homeschool ministries within their church, enrichment programs and support groups. And, I want you to go there. I want you and your husband to go there. And we did. Within 2 weeks, the Lord brought a church with us, Hillside Church, here in California. And they said, hey, we want to do this. We want to start our homeschool ministry. And basically, they kind of resonated with our hearts. And our hearts is to actually rescue our children from institutions that require different agendas other than reading, writing, and arithmetic. And so the goal is to rescue children from inappropriate agendas out there. I'm not saying all teachers are like that. I'm saying it's getting really dangerous out there for our children because we don't know what they're learning. We
Right.
don't know what the teachers are teaching them. And so that's the new ministry that we have. We've got several churches here in line to kind of start that ministry. And then on top of that, the other part of the question was, OutSchool. So the difference. Okay, so OutSchool is great. I wish I had thought of it, except from the Christian point of view, because I'm a 40-year entrepreneur as well. So it is a great business program that meets the needs of America. And that's why they are huge. Unfortunately, the one aspect is you can't talk about God in some of your classes.
Right.
I'm assuming that they kind of ban that, kind of like public school.
They do.
And yeah, they do. So I'm assuming they do. Yeah. And so that's the one difference, obviously. Heart Academy is a Christian organization, therefore you can talk about God as much as you want.
Great.
Yeah, so that is the one thing. And I know that there's different businesses out there that have started something like this.
Hmm.
They're not as big as OutSchool. The second
Right.
thing is that I do still require a teacher fee, similar to OutSchool, which is, I think 30% is what you guys require.
Hmm.
I've always required anywhere between 10 to 12% at Heart Academy, because this is not just a business for me. This is a ministry. My husband and I believe that in order for America to be strong, they must have strong families. They must have strong moms and dads, and therefore the next generation legacy, um, advancing the kingdom, will continue to move on. At this point in our time of church history, our children, our children, they have to be warriors for Christ. They have to do it anyways, right?
Hmm.
But in order for them to have their convictions and believe in them, and to live uh, a life that is a light to the world, we need to teach them in that regard as we get up and eat and walk, and from Deuteronomy. So that's the one thing that Heart Academy is. It's not just a business; it is a ministry, and it stems from the fact that we believe in families, and families make America strong.
Yes. And I know, and we talked about this, but just for our audience too, like it's it can be, I know it's bad in California, and I mean every state is different, but
Right?
like I'm in a very military area, so I've talked to people who move around, and I've heard some things about the California schools, so I can
It's
only imagine. Yeah.
it's not good. So obviously, I've spoken to thousands in my, 19 years of doing homeschooling here in the Bay Area, and generally, oh, we're moving because we're coming into homeschooling because it's the academic system of California is not doing well. There's too many kids in the classroom. There's 30 kids, and my kid is getting lost and things like that. Now, it's the agendas they're talking about is dangerous, and my children are coming out of high school, and they're losing their faith.
Hmm.
And your typical statistics: Christians kids go into college, and 80 to 90% just leave the faith and don't believe anymore. They do come back. I believe that God's word does not come back void, because God will hound them, because he is the hound of heaven. But they do lose their faith for some time.
Hmm.
And so California obviously is a liberal state, and it is getting worse here in California. And therefore, you've got hundreds of people talking to me saying, I need to pull my kid out. Even single moms. At Heart Academy, we have a 5-day program where, online or in person, that single parents can use in order for them to pull their kids, and rescue them from the institutionalized school. So
Right.
I don't know. I know that in other places in the United States, it's still normal. It's still the same thing, Bible focused, even. You've got your Bible Belt area, but you've got New York and California, you know, and the coasts. It's getting bad. So,
Yes.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Virginia. You may have heard it made national news when it came to education. I don't live in that county,
Yeah.
but yes, but I'm lucky I live in a good public school district, but I definitely wouldn't hesitate to pull my kids out if, something happened. But I think what happened during the pandemic is like the kids were home and the parents may have been working right next to their kids. And then all of a sudden the parents heard what was going on in the classrooms. And the teachers in the school system were like, we're not teaching CRT. They're like, really? I heard it. I was literally sitting right next to the computer.
Exactly.
I heard it. You can't
Yes.
tell me they're not doing that. And so, yeah, so I think there's a need. I actually teach at a private Christian school that's kind of university style. They have asynchronous work 2 days a week, and they've had a huge increase in enrollments this year. So, yeah, so a lot of people are really wanting to move. Yes. Yeah,
Exactly.
I watched the school board meeting, Cindy. Yes, I wouldn't hesitate if it came to our county, and there are some people trying. But yes. So, well, anything else you want to say about the school itself before I move on to asking you questions about like the teacher side?
Sure. Let's see. We talked about, so we basically have 3 services. You boil it down to 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
Here in California, in order to homeschool, you need to, number 1, be a credentialed teacher. Not very many people have that. Number 2, you file an affidavit with California and saying you will homeschool. It's not a permission to homeschool. It is a, I'm telling you I'm homeschooling.
Oh, okay.
And number 3, you are part of a private school program, private school satellite program, or a public school program. And so you can be anywhere within, hi, Rebecca, anywhere within those 3 areas. Heart Academy, number 1, is a private school satellite program. That means you come into my school. I have your CUME files. I mentor you in homeschooling. I keep you accountable to turn in your grades every quarter. I file the affidavit for you because some parents want to be anonymous. They don't want to tell the state of California that they're homeschooling. They want to be anonymous under someone else. And so I'm a PSP. Yeah, it's really different.
Yeah.
California is probably, other than Texas, from what I can remember, is like, in Texas, you don't have to do anything. You just homeschool. That's it. But California is, again, one of the good things about California and homeschooling is that one of the freest states when it comes to homeschooling. You also,
good.
I know.
I wouldn't have thought that. I wouldn't have thought that about California. Luckily, Virginia is very free too when it comes to homeschooling. They don't even monitor you much or anything.
Yeah. See, in others, you have to turn in your grades. There's someone that comes in and checks your work, even in your home, in your home. And so, so we are a PSP. We're called a PSP, Private School Satellite Program. I've got maybe about 13, 14 people, or a little bit more than that. And it can go up to 100, right? But because I'm very specific, I'm a Christian homeschool program, I haven't opened it up to non-Christians. We don't have that many coming in. So that's the first service. The second service are classes. So you've got online classes, anywhere from Chinese. We've got someone doing Chinese 1 to a physics lab to theater, all university style, once or twice a week. On top of that, the in-person classes, my belief is that it's really better if you do face-to-face, in person. You see the person, you create a relationship, you get to see the words coming out of the person's mouth. And so face-to-face is primo, number 1. That's why you pay more. And so I've created a program, a co-op program, where the parents get to teach, and there is a facilitator, a teacher facilitator who knows what they're doing. They've been around for a long time, or they're ex-teachers that don't want to be in the public school anymore. And they come together for 5 hours, 1 day a week. 4 or 5 hours, 1 day a week. That's the co-op. And teachers, teach, or parents teach. their favorite subject, obviously. And then the 4 days a week, they come together for tutoring, just like as if you were homeschooling them. Somebody
Oh,
else,
okay.
somebody else is homeschooling them. And you attend unless you are a homeschool or unless you are a single mom that have to work. So
Mhm.
some parents here in California, specifically in Silicon Valley, because we are the most expensive, probably, area in the United States,
Yes,
mom has
definitely.
to work full time
Mm,
sometimes, and dad has to work full time. And so, you know, parents are not required to come. But when they are required to come, it's number one to teach them how to homeschool their children. So
mm,
6 months down the road, they can do it themselves. Say they
mm,
come in, they see someone do it, they feel more comfortable because some don't feel comfortable.
mm,
They don't feel comfortable homeschooling their children, and rightly so, because
mm.
sometimes you're forced to do this, um,
Yes.
and that's where you need to wrestle with God, obviously. And so we've created a program to mentor new homeschoolers um, to help single parents, because that's a big need out there too. If you're thinking 50% of our population are single parents, that's a
Mm,
lot of people. That's a lot of
mhm.
women and men that you're meeting the needs
Yes.
of. And
Yes.
so, uh, yeah, so we saw those needs, my husband and I, and said, okay, let's do this. We don't know what we're doing. Let's just do it anyways, because God will kind of take care of that. And so we did. This year we had like 3 single moms. And what's happened is um, the parents who are teaching the single parents' children, they're really nurturing them, and they're actually taking care of them, and babysitting them on top of that.
Okay.
And so what's happened is we've created several a pod of 5 families who's taking care of that 1, 2, or 3 moms within the pod. And so
That's
they have
really nice.
automatic, and this is exactly where the church should be doing, because that's why we want to
Yes.
go into the church and helping them to understand that this is a ministry
Mhm,
beyond education. It is powerful, it's synergistic, and you're taking care of your congregation's practical needs in the educational area, mountain, and in the practical day-to-day life, mountain. And
mhm.
so that's what Heart Academy is. We've pivoted, we've added the church based ministry and the co op specifically.
Hmm. I love that. So I ended up homeschooling my daughter out of necessity because she was having health problems. And oh, I would have loved a program like that where someone kind of helped me homeschool, where like I could go somewhere where you're there and it holds you accountable and you learn to homeschool. And I totally would have helped someone out who was a single mom and hey, I'm here anyway teaching my kid. I can teach you too. Or, it sounds like it's not just one person, but like a whole bunch of people kind of take on
Yeah.
that. That sounds like a wonderful program. Wish I like lived near you during that time of my life.
It's okay. You can start it in your area. I'll help
Yeah.
you.
Okay. So, and then anyone listening, if that's something you want to start in your area.
Oh, yeah. We're all about helping the church
Uh-huh.
do what they should be doing, and that's helping widows and
Mm.
orphans.
Mm-hmm.
Widows are the single parents,
Yes.
generally speaking,
Right.
modern wise, and you've got the orphans who are come from single parents.
Right.
So that is a commandment from God, and so we
Mm-hmm.
need to do that.
Well, that sounds great. All right. Well, and if any of you have any more questions who are listening, put them in the chat. But now I'm going to ask, because my channel is geared towards teachers. So I want to ask you questions about the teacher side too. So I know everyone who's listening right now is wondering, but are you hiring?
Am I hiring?
Mhm.
So I am. Yes, I want to get as many Christian teachers from all over the United States, and possibly the world, because this is a needed platform. It's difficult to find Christian teachers, Christian teachers that are safe, that have been vetted by me specifically and my husband, because we talk to these. Kelly is one of them. I had to speak with you. It took us about a half an hour, 45 minutes. I was very specific, et cetera, down to the point where do you go to church and, et cetera. And I haven't even had her give me her resume. It was a personal interview and a relationship. That's what I believe it's going to be. So yes, the answer is yes. I have one coming from New Zealand, in fact, and he teaches guitar. He used to live here in the United States, and I knew him when he was here. And he said, "Hey, Crissi, are you taking anybody?" I said, "Yeah." The
time difference is going to be crazy with him.
Oh, I know.
Well, I guess you being in California won't be as bad as like the East Coast, but well, New Zealand, now we're getting a little off topic, but New Zealand's like a popular place for Americans to go because they need people. My daughter actually is going to school for nursing and wants to move there after she gets her degree. Yes, especially if you have like a teacher or a nurse, or some high in demand career, you can go live on the other side of the world, at least temporarily.
And they speak English. So
Yes. Yeah. That was what made my daughter look into it, because she wants to live abroad, but she doesn't want to live where they speak another language, the language barrier. So
yes.
Yeah. So it's something to look into if anyone is especially if you're young and free and you don't have family obligations. That would be a great place to move, even just for a year. But anyways, we got off topic. Back on this. So is there any specific type of teacher you're looking for, or just as long as they're Christian, or any subject you're looking for, like specifically right now?
Let me just think here, because we have 40 plus classes already. Like I said, 60% are online. And I do have a list. Let me see if I could just rattle it off at the top of my brain here. So here are the characteristics I'm looking for in regards to a teacher. Number one, a Christian worldview, obviously. You are a Christian worldview, and I'm more from a conservative point of view, a conservative Christian. I'm a conservative Christian myself. And to be that in California is an anomaly. We are rare. We are rare, far few in between. So number two, they must know how to handle relationships. I'm looking for mature Christians who can not fly off the handle and not take it so personally when it becomes difficult with another parent. Things get personal because it's all about, it's you, and a parent can fly off the handle anytime. I mean, they're Christians, right? But we're not perfect, and they're not either, obviously. But I'm looking for mature people, especially those are online, that know how to deal with that kind of stuff. Now, we do help you. My husband and I have been around in the educational world for 25 plus years. My husband, 40 years in the educational world. We will come in if there's any issues and have a courageous conversation between you and the kid and the parent. But my personal discipline philosophy is you speak with the child one-on-one without the parent, warning them, saying, well, listen, I honor you. I know you're growing. I'm going to give you a chance to grow in this area. Number two, if it happens again, I speak directly to the parent and not the student. I'm just going to give them an eye. Okay. And then if nothing happens, then we go to the principal, which is my husband. He's principal of both Heart Academy and Calvary Christian Academy, a homeschool program and a regular private school. And we speak with the with everyone, the whole family, and say, listen, can we create a solution to this challenge? Because we want you, we love you, but things need to change. There are boundaries. So that's who I'm looking for, a mature Christian adult that knows how to handle a difficult situation, because it does happen. If it's never happened in your career, then you haven't been teaching long. Because it does happen, right, Teacher Kelly?
Yes.
Someone who, again, going off the top of my head, there's 3 other things in there, and without me going into my computer.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's
So those
a general
those are the
idea.
2 most important things. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. And so you don't have to give like exact numbers, but the pay range, just so people have an idea.
Up to you. And the pay range, it's
So
really up to
like
you. I know.
Outschool, where you're
Well, yeah,
charging,
exactly.
you deciding. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I know that there's many other Christian organizations that have a specific pay range. Because we're here in California, it might be a little bit more expensive. But online you could do, and even then, online, in person, you choose, because you know your needs. You decide what it is. But our general pay range is about $75 per month. And that's when we were, well, for my online people, it would be an hour and 15 minutes of that time. A week per person. And we are an hour and 15 minutes, because that's what we did face to face. It changes now, because it's really hard sometimes for the younger ones to go an hour and 15 minutes, obviously. So it'd be 30 minutes or so, and just divide whatever it is that you need toward that. So we are also we're generally a yearly contract program. There is an entrepreneur class that my sister does, which is about 8 weeks or so. So there are specialized program. I just turned on my fan because I'm getting hot here.
Okay.
It's not menopause, I promise. Okay, I'm just going to take this off. And so yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Let's see. The next question I had was one that you've already answered about the percentage. I don't think I have any other questions. Let's see. I'm not seeing any in the chat. Let me show, I wanted to show the website and I didn't get to. So while I'm sharing the website, any of you that have questions, now's the time to ask. And if you want to share anything else or explain the website as I'm sharing it, Crissi, you can. So here it is.
All right. So cool that you could do that. Okay. So tell me again what I'm supposed to do.
If you want to tell us anything else, or here, just let me show them the website in general. Here you've got services, your private school satellite, new homeschool, support, graduation, the school schedule. Yep. Oh, there's to register.
Let's see. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then, your curriculum. Here, do you have a specific curriculum? Yeah.
So where it says register, if you go on there, it'll you look down and you'll be able to download 2 items. Number 1, the course catalog, and which is about 100 pages. Do not print it out. Print out only the items that you need. And then the registration form. And so you're able to download all that and take a look at it on your computer. Do you remember way back when we had green sheets and course descriptions and things like that?
Yeah.
That's exactly what you'll see there. So you'll have, especially in the high school classes, very specific who, what, where, when, why, what, how long, etc. Online, all that information will be there specifically for them. Or you can go directly on the website. Let me just think here. Yeah, you'd have to download the course catalog because it doesn't have that information, the typical course description of the website. All it has is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Believe it or not, there are classes on Sunday, crazy people. And that's my sister. Oh, shoot, don't tell her. And so, you might get a class that is a Taekwondo class from Nevada, from Master Velasquez on Mondays, and then a ages K through second class co-op. Actually, I don't have one there. Let's say 9th through 12th grade class, classical approach online on Fridays, let's say. So again, it's you decide which day, what time, and what style. It's really, really just open to you, because I'm not about putting you in a box. I'm about letting you free to create your own classes. I'm about having you minister to that child and seeing your passion come out, because more is caught than taught. They're gonna catch your excitement for this subject, and not sometimes what comes out of your mouth even.
Right.
So that energy is going to come out of you automatically without you saying anything. So if you're a Christian and you love Jesus, that's going to come out. If you're a Christian and you love science and Jesus at the same time, that's going to come out. So that's what you'll see on the website.
Okay. Well, yes, I just was sharing the different services. So I really like how basically whatever you want to do as far as homeschooling, if you want to do private school, homeschooling, unschooling, it's all there, and you have the options for everybody. So love that. And I showed the course catalog. Like the Geico commercial, though, don't print the whole internet.
No, please.
Print the whole thing. Yeah.
It's too much. Just download it for sure.
So, okay, well, I think that's it. If you have anything else that we didn't cover that you want everybody to know, go ahead and say it now. Or
okay,
if we covered everything.
I think we did. Let me just see. I'm looking at the questions. Okay, the one thing that you didn't ask is talk about the types of students who can join Academy. I think we went through that. But basically, like I said, we're eclectic in the sense that we take in anyone. I mean, to the point even Asperger children, autistic children, they were in our campus. They were on our campus, and I'd say about 10 were autistic, and they fit right in because I do not brook bullying. We are a loving community. Not that I force it to them, but I partner with you guys to create number one, a safe environment, so that we know that the teachers are safe. They're not going to do anything that's not against your value, that's against your values. And so autistic children in the face-to-face area, they do well with us. Again, we've got about 10 that have come in, and the children are just so very loving. And you know why? It's because parents are involved. It's not a drop off, although you can drop them off, especially in high school. But if you want to be a part of the program, you're welcome to stay as long as you're not disruptive.
I think that's great. Yeah, because they would not let you do that in public school, and you have to ask to come in or volunteer, and they say yes or no. So that's one I mean, people who have nothing to hide nothing. So you let parents come in because your school has nothing to hide, right? Yes. So
That and that's why it bloomed to 200, because really I didn't have a website for about 10 years, the first 10 years. I finally said, "Oh, I think we should have a website." And so I bartered with another mom, but really it was just all word of mouth. And that's the most powerful type of promotion that you'll ever have.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thanks for coming on, Crissi, and maybe hopefully you'll get some more teachers and more students from this interview. So
Hopefully, thank you for interviewing me. I'm just so privileged to be able to share this information with your group.
great. All right. Well, thanks everyone who came and who watches later, and see you next time. Bye.